Hey everyone, Greg the insurance guy here. What I wanted to do today was just quickly go through some slides on as far as insurance for seniors. I know some people who are a little older may have a question regarding insurance and if it's right for them. So just wanted to make this quick presentation, just about 10 slides, pretty quick here on insurance for seniors and why it's important as well. Okay, so what is life insurance in case you are still a little confused on that term? Life insurance pretty much just means having a financial vehicle to use in case something were to happen to you so that your family does not have a financial burden. That's a simple way of defining life insurance. And the purpose of it, again, is to have money there that can pay for your final expenses so your family does not have to come out of pocket or even worry about that financial burden. Because if you think about it, the one thing we don't have control over is grieving when a loved one passes away, especially unexpectedly. But we can control as far as the financial piece. So having life insurance in place just ensures that at least the second part is controlled and we don't have to worry about that. We can just spend our time with family and healing and getting through that difficult time. And different types of insurance. You have term insurance, you have whole life insurance, and you have pretty much final expense insurance. And we're going to go over the pros and cons of each one. And so you can pretty much decide which one may be a good fit for you. So when it comes to, different insurance, things that you want to consider are your age and your health, because the older you get, obviously, the more expensive insurance gets, and then your health as well plays a factor into the type of coverage that you actually would qualify for. So those are things you want to keep in mind. Also, the amount of coverage, believe it or not, most people believe they need way more coverage than what they actually do. A lot of people want $1 million policy, but when they see it's like six, seven, eight, $900, they quickly change their minds on it. And then when you break it down and sit with them to go over their finances and just their needs, you see that, oh, that $1 million policy turned to maybe a $50,000 policy, something like that. So again, a lot of people over exaggerate what they need, but once you sit down, that's why it's very important to sit down with a licensed insurance agent to go over that information, go over the financial piece, just to make sure it's something you can afford over a long period of time. Because if you think about it, let's say you get a policy and you're paying, $200 a month. Can you still sustain that if something were to happen unexpectedly, such as a water heater goes out, or you have to get some major maintenance, like an engine repair on your car or something like that, a roof repair on your home? Can you still maintain that policy? Because insurance is one of the first things that people cancel when they go through a financial hard time. So something you want to keep in mind to where, okay, instead of having that $200 policy, what about a $50 policy per month? Can you sustain that even with those different repairs needed in those unexpected expenses? So something to think about. And again, so understanding term insurance pros and cons and the coverage duration. So again, term insurance is the pros to that is that it's really cheap. Again, you can get policies again if you're starting when you're really young, $20 a month, but when you're older, yeah, you may get something that's 50, 60, 70, $80 a month, which is still reasonable, but it only lasts for a short period of time. Again, the older you get, the less time that policy will last. Like, for example, if you're in your 20s, you can get a policy that will last 30 years. Then when you're in your 60s, you can get like a 15, maybe 20-year policy and not a 30-year policy. And it will be way more expensive. The longer you wait, the more expensive the policy would be. That's why it's important to get something earlier. But again, things happen in life. People don't think about certain things. You're not exposed to things in life, which is fine. So again, if you're over 65, you can still get a policy, but you just get maybe a 10, 15-year term. But then again, if it expire, if you're really healthy, take care of yourself, and you outlive that policy, now you have nothing. So that's the con of having a term insurance that is only for a certain duration of time. And if you outlive the policy, now you have no coverage, and all the money you put into the policy is just gone. You just don't have anything. Just like basic insurance, like car insurance and homeowners insurance, once you put money into it, but if nothing happens in that for that duration, you don't get any of that back. So that's the cons of that. Now, on the other side of that, when you have whole life insurance, again, it lasts your whole life. That's why it's called whole life insurance. Again, it's lifetime coverage. And with this one, it's actually the opposite of term, to where you put money into it and you actually build a cash value component to where you actually can take out cash if you needed to for different expenses, or taking out a loan against your policy. So those are things you can do as far as with a whole life policy. So that's something to really think about, because again, it lasts your whole life and it does build cash value. Now, final expense insurance is something that's just more of the bare minimum. It's pretty much the cheapest, one of the cheapest outside of term insurance that you can get, and it's strictly for just covering final expenses, to where you may get a $10,000-$20,000 policy just to cover burial or cremation, and that's all you want. You don't want anything fancy or big bells and whistles and performances at your funeral. Just get it done. $10,000 roughly is what, as of today, and what is it, February 2024. As of today, the average funeral cost is about $10,000. So if you get a policy against strictly 10,000, or if you want to account for inflation, maybe bumped it to 15, 20,000. But yeah, that's pretty much a final expense, where it's not something that's super big, 100 grand. It's simply 10, 20, 30, maybe 50 grand max for a final expense type of policy. But again, they're affordable, and it covers everything you need, so your family does not have that, at least that financial burden. If you have some debts you want paid off, burial, you get your plot, all that stuff, it will cover that. Now, when it comes to policies and you say, well, how do I apply to it? You actually will, again, initially go online, you can search for it, and then you may see some advertising from a IMO, and then you submit your inquiry to that, and then you have a licensed professional reach out to you to actually go through some questions, get some information from you, and then see what policy or type of plan would actually best fit your needs. Also, something to keep in mind is when you're looking at different policies, again, want to make sure you understand the terms and conditions of that. Also know what type of required documentation would be needed for that policy, because a lot of these final expense type policies, it does not require a medical exam, but it does do what's called an MIB, a Medical Information Bureau check, and a pharmaceutical check, and there's still health questions that needs to be asked in lieu of having a physical person come out to draw blood and urine and spit samples and all that fun stuff, right? But just keep that in mind. So you still have to have questions answered, and you still need to go through a pharmaceutical check, because again, when you go get a checkup by your doctor, you get prescriptions, that's all recorded in the system. And so the pharmaceutical check and MIB check actually would scan and go through all those records to make sure there's something that's not a discrepancy. Like if you did not admit to something on the application, but it showed up on the pharmaceutical report, then that would be grounds for pretty much declining that application. So it's always critical to have all the information, make sure you're honest and upfront, because it just saves time in the long run. So again, some tips, I guess, for seniors is start as early as possible. Even if you're in your 60s, it's better than waiting till you're in your 70s. So again, start as early as possible. And again, be honest about your health and lifestyle, because it only helps the underwriter be able to find plans that will fit your needs. Some people say, well, if I say this, I may get declined, but it's actually the opposite. If you say it, we'll be able to find a plan that does accept that condition, whether it's like a health condition or something you have, versus if you leave it out and it shows up, then you get declined for that coverage. Now, if you're declined, it does show up on your your medical searches, to where, so if you go to another agent and you try to get insurance, that will show up on there showing that you got declined, which is not the the end of the world or anything, but you don't want to have those dings on your record. So just kind of keep that in mind. Also, when you are speaking with the professional, you do periodic reviews and updates with someone that really is concerned about your needs and make sure it's taken care of. So periodically, every 6 months, maybe once a year, you schedule that call with your insurance broker, field underwriter, and then kind of go through your needs and assess to see, okay, is this enough coverage? Are we good? Do we need to increase it? Or is there another plan that we can transfer this policy into? So just keep that in mind. And again, just don't wait, because again, the longer you wait, the more expensive things are. Or if you get diagnosed with some type of health issue, literally the day after you had a review, you did not sign up for that policy, and then the next day you have something happen, now those premiums are twice or three times as much, or you don't qualify for that specific product. So again, it's best to just Again, start as soon as possible. Don't wait. Take action and then get your loved ones protected. So at least you have that peace of mind and not have to have that worry about a financial burden that you will leave on your family. So hope this helps. Again, if you guys have any more questions, in the description below, you can definitely contact me. You can reach out and then we can schedule a review and see what we can do from there. But again, this is Greg, the insurance guy. I really appreciate your time and thank you.